Somewhere in Russia, Tasao curses Kang Ji-young as he watches the toxic cloud, remembering the moment he saw him fight Lucas. He gets angry remembering that, but quickly changes his mind as he stands before a massive monster and remarks that it will be fun to face it. Meanwhile, in the fight between Kang Ji-young and Lucas, the young man shows the new appearance, now looking more monstrous. Lucas, seeing him, comments that he possesses an ominous, magical power. They appear in front of him, and he embraces him, saying he must be deeply tormented. Before the monster is evaporated, he manages to free his armed arm with a bone blade and launches a fatal attack on Lucas, who, as if by magic, disappears after being struck. Afterward, Lucas comments that sometimes just having someone to listen can make a big difference. Then, the hunter appears over the monster, embedding his hand in its head. However, Bones suddenly turns, hitting Lucas and separating his hand from his body, throwing him far away. Lucas gets up and observes Kang Ji-young, whose head glows due to the hunter's hand. So the monster decides to grab his skull with both hands and, with great force, splits his head in half. All this happens under the gaze of the man, who is already regenerating his lost hand. He also comments that, since he obtained that power, he began to hear voices constantly. The voices of those who suffer from hunger, disease, and disasters. But also those of people seeking. He reveals that fortunately, he also hears other sounds, those of encouragement, hope, happiness, and gratitude, the bright voices of those he has thwarted. And even now, he can hear them clearly. Just at that moment, Bones launches an attack, but Lucas, kneeling on the ground, materializes huge hands beside the monster. And by bringing them together, he crushes it, causing an explosion of rare red light. However, something starts to happen. A dark energy begins to be absorbed from the freshly crushed being. He breaks free and, stirring at his target, leaps to attack, intending to stab him with his blade. But Lucas dodges Kang Ji-young's attack, who asks how that's possible. When the monster attacks again, Lucas wonders if that's the only way. Touching his opponent's forehead, it causes the monster to stop moving, and Lucas states that sometimes faith tests them. Then he begins to control Bones' movements, making him stab his own hands into his chest, hurting himself repeatedly. Lucas's ability forces his opponent to move against his will and even mirrors his actions. At that moment, the man begins to recite his prayers while forcing Kang Ji-young to hurt himself over and over. He reflects on everything that's happening and wonders what he's doing, admitting that it hurts a lot. However, at the same time, he can't stop praising. He expresses that it feels warm. After suffering a bit more, he wonders if that's what respect, faith, represents. Then he curses all of them. His face reflects anger and anguish over what he's experiencing. All this is observed by the entire world, except for Taesu, who is fighting against the Arctic monster. He comments that this beast is very strong. However, he thinks the Arctic monster is nothing compared to the Americans. And that, if he can't eliminate it, he also won't be able to eliminate Kang Ji. He reflects that he must finish him off with his own hands. On the other hand, Lucas is kneeling in front of a pool of red liquid. It's then that lightning begins to emerge from the portals and strike the red pool, quickly regenerating Bones and trying to catch Lucas. But he is quick, and grabbing part of the monster, he throws it directly against the building. The structure collapses, and debris falls on him, leaving Kang Ji-young in the sewers in front of a woman, who, by the way, asks him if he is her son. We're done with this week's chapter. If you made it this far, comment chickpea salad. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like us so YouTube keeps recommending us. Thanks to everyone who watched this far. See you in the next video. But first, I leave you the next chapter and a comic that I'm sure you'll like.